Welcome to Policy and Profit, the podcast for ambitious insurance agents and agency owners who want to build predictable, profitable businesses without chasing bad leads or begging for referrals. And let's be brutally honest for a second. Most agency owners aren't building a team, they're babysitting one. They spend their days chasing flaky prospects, time vampires, repeating the same recruiting pitch 5 times a week like a parrot, only to have broke dreamers, no-shows, and ghosters drain their time and siphon their energy. And worst of all, their personal production suffers. And they start resenting the team that they tried so hard to build. And if that's you, I've got some good news for you. You're not lazy, you're just trying to scale using effort rather than systems. That's why I built the Autopilot Recruiter, a done-for-you system that helps you attract qualified agents, pre-sell them with your story, and get them onboarded, all without doing another live Zoom sales pitch or three-way call ever again. It's the same system top recruiters are using to grow massive downlines in the hundreds without sacrificing their commission, their time, or their sanity. So if you're ready to build a team that actually grows itself, go to writemorepolicies.com/playbook and download the free playbook today. Today's guest is none other than Jennifer Majeske, the owner of Majeske Insurance, an all-lines insurance agency based in Colorado. She leverages AI and technology to boost efficiency, elevate client service, and stay ahead of the competition in a rapidly evolving industry. So, Jennifer, welcome to the show. Tell me something you believe is the key to succeeding in insurance sales that most agents completely overlook.
Yes, thank you for having me, first of all. And one of the biggest things that I've noticed is as a broker or agent, you get busy into the day-to-day grind of things and you don't use the efficiency and the technology that's out there to allow yourself to actually grow your business, right? So excuse me, using the technology that I have leveraged in the agency allows us to not only just replace bad marketing and outdated systems, but also how we can respond quicker to our clients. And so being able to listen closely more, respond quickly and intelligent to every client allows us to also cross-sell. So as you mentioned, we have all lines of business in our office. So when we bring in a client from every touch point, we're able to continue through that sale with the client.
I like that. I hear it all the time. Like, you need more leads, you need more leads. It's like, no, dummy. How about you do something with the people who have already trusted you enough to give you money once and get them to give you money for a second time, a third time, a 14th time.
Right.
You want to increase LTV every step of the way. And so all buying more leads does for most of you agents is you're essentially saying, I'm going to give you money to not give me any money back to the lead vendor.
Right.
You're just increasing the number of people not paying you. And when you said replace bad systems and marketing practices, what did you mean by that? What do those look like to you?
Right. Well, one of the biggest things I think that we've always heard since we started in the industry is sticky business, right? What does that mean? Obviously having more policies in a home. And so what you're referencing and what we tried to do is identify the client and build human relationships. As we also know, like insurance can't just be sold. You have to build trust within that client or that relationship. And so what we like to do is obviously one, like you just said, it's very expensive to bring a client in into your org, right? So now how are we going to nurture that relationship and keep them? And so utilizing the tools and tech stack that we have, we're able to identify their needs and then be able to continue to keep sticky business or the sales going within that home and bring that along the trail. So once we bring in the leads, however that be seen, so whether it's Facebook marketing, an event, or Google ads, or however we're doing it with our technology, then we're also finding out and identifying their needs, and then we're going down the sales pipeline, cross-selling. So for our office specifically, we have brokers that specialize in each individualized area. So we're able to tag them in what we call our CRM, our main hub of everything, right? Notated in there what their needs are conversation wise. And we have AI tools that can also take notes and then cross identify that with we use Salesforce actually in-house, but with Pardot and Marketing Clouds, and then some of our other systems that we use, identify conversations that they've had, and then we can go back and do marketing drip and campaigning on them. So like I'll use a perfect example. Maybe we had a Medicare client that came in. They were talking about how they plan on traveling, right? Or they talked about income that they have maybe in an IRA, 401k. now we know we are not going to have that initial conversation about cross-selling opportunities, but that now that's those systems that we have set in place are going to go and cross-sell to them for travel insurance, annuities, additional conversations down the road.
What do you think the most important system a insurance agent can really focus on is?
System or kind of identify that, because I think that that can go in multiple different directions with that question that you asked me. But I think actually building a trust relationship with your client is number one, and being able to use the systems that we have to make it quicker and not be able to, when you're having the initial conversation with the client, right, and you're identifying their needs, it's really hard because you don't want to sell, right? You want to build that trust. And that's something that we really focus on here in our agency, and we educate our clients. So I always tell all my brokers, like, stop selling, get that notion out of your head. You are not selling anything. You're building trust and you're identifying their needs, because then you're going to be placing more and more business and they're going to continue to send referrals. And that's the biggest thing that I always start out with every broker in my office.
Yeah, it's so funny. Most agents, they don't know how to walk a complete stranger through a sales process. And
Right.
we can call it whatever we like. At the end of the day, it is an exchange of services. It is selling. And it's sad because people, I'm sure you've heard a lot of agents like, Jennifer, I'm not making any money. I'm not making enough money.
Right.
If you're watching this, you probably think you don't make enough money. And what Jennifer and I are telling you is that it's not that you don't make enough money, you silly goose. It's that you don't make money fast enough. And
Right.
so if it takes you 40 years to make $1 million, you are poor. If you make $1 million in a year, you are now rich. Same amount of money, but it's a lot different in how long it took you to get it. So when you use what Jennifer's telling you, and the main thing that you have to put in the sales process is trust. And don't get me wrong, I love selling people. I love overcoming objection and saying, oh, that was good. But it very rarely makes the most money. And until you can get a customer to think it was completely their idea to wake up on a Saturday and come to Majeske offices, it's just not as
That's a
fun
pipe
for the
dream. That's a
customer.
pipe dream.
Yeah.
Yes, but you take
So
those objections tend to go away, and I think the more experience that you become in having those types of conversations and utilizing these tools, so many brokers, I hear them every single day, and especially obviously on the health side of things with all of the changes that are going on, everyone's so scared, and oh, everyone's leaving the industry. Oh, we're not going to make any money. Oh, we're not going to do this. We're not. It doesn't work. Throw that out the window and stop worrying about what everybody else is doing, and figure out your own systems and how you can utilize all this amazing technology that's out there for us. And the objections really start to go out the window. And again, having that human interaction, I think especially after COVID, people are hungry for that human interaction again. They want to know that there's a real person on the other line, but a real person that is listening to their needs and understanding what they want. And once you still start to build that trust and figure out those needs, I mean, the sales start to come, because then you have conversations, or you know them, or you have it noted, and you don't even have to worry about it. AI is taking the notes for us, and it's putting it in like, hey, Miss Sally Smith has, XYZ going on in her life. And the next time we speak to her, she all of a sudden thinks she's our favorite client, which she is. They're all our favorite clients, right? But realistically, she's going to bring so much more business to us that's just in her home alone and or referrals. So again, everyone, like you're saying, that it takes $1 million, years to make $1 million, they're obviously doing something wrong, and they're not utilizing everything that's at their fingertips and available to them.
yeah, it's like chaos is knocking on their door and they get all scared. Like they see a customer they sold last week calling their phone. They're like, ain't no way in hell I'm answering as Jennifer. They're going to cancel. It's like, no, dummy, because you didn't answer, they canceled. And so when chaos is knocking on your door, opportunity is right there behind it. So
Exactly.
I know
Exactly.
something you're really passionate about is this whole idea of embracing tech and AI. Walk us through some of that.
Mhm. Yeah, so we have different, and it depends upon the line that we have, right? So if we're bringing in somebody on the financial side, we use a product that allows them to put in all of their financials, so we can identify things, right? So we can find those hidden annuities. We can find that they don't have enough life insurance. We can cross sell for those opportunities. We give it out to them as it's like a free finder or free financial overlook wellness plan, whatever you want to call that. But that actually is really identifying needs for us to be able to go back to them and have that conversation. Uh, The other thing we are for long-term care, there's another AI platform that's out there now that's really slick. It allows them to put in their information and it analyzes not only how much, but the likelihood of when they're going to need to start to have long-term care. And so that's a really great tool that we have. And then we have obviously on the health side, we have some other intake tools. We utilize, as I already mentioned, Salesforce. We are building out on our website. We're really excited about it for Agent Force. So we just started to launch that, and there's so much that you can do behind Agent Force. It definitely is an investment, so it's not going to be for every small agency out there to utilize, but the ability that we see on that is incredible. So, for example, we can use that not only as like a chat bot to bring in a lead, but we can also use it on an internal side. So our brokers internally can ask the chat bot instead of having to wait to put into like a Slack or come to one of us to ask, hey, what's going on? Everything is at their fingertips and immediate. So they look extremely knowledgeable. And it's a great training resource as well. So we have that. Then we use Dialpad, that's all synced and AI. And then it goes right into our Salesforce. And then obviously we have some other emailing type things that we do. And then again, like I mentioned, the part out in sales cloud that within the Salesforce that we use. So we can set up everything within the drip campaigns for all the touch points that we do. So before the sale, after the sale, once we identify from the AI conversations, again, like I said, with using the example of the Medicare client to be able to go back and cross sell those other opportunities. So yeah, we use quite a few different tools that are available to us.
Email is always my favorite. I love walking people through a storyline. If you ever read any of my posts, it's always like, and you see me hunched over there in barbecue sauce, and people are like, "What the?" It's like this is supposed to be a salesperson, and he's talking about Fourth of July, and people have him held hot, and it's so funny. So for all of you agents out there, something you can do is go to other insurance agents and say, "Hey, I'll give you 10 cents for every lead you've never sold." And just
Yeah.
buy thousands of them and put them in drip camp. I promise you. I built a list of 150,000 normal people, just normal humans, and I could just fill my sales team up every single week with pre-booked calls that have been through funnels, they've been qualified, and it cost me pennies on the dollar for really great leads. So guys, go do that. What are some of your favorite uses of AI that you think more agents should be aware of and be using actively?
Again, I think it really depends upon what
For like
part.
a life agent, what are like the top two uses they should be using AI for?
If you're not using Dialpad or a phone service like that, you're missing the boat. I know there's tons of services out there now with allowing that type of technology. But if you've ever not seen Dialpad or some of these others where it gives you the transcript, but it also pulls out the notes of the conversation, it'll even tell us if we're saying a bad word, like we're swearing in the conversation. It'll give us, hey, like control your shit words or whatever you're saying bad. But
Oh no.
but it but it allows you to really identify the conversation in quick notes, but it also maybe you didn't hear what they said or you need to reference something very quickly, you can go back through there, and that's probably our number one favorite tool in the office, just because of you can take that into so many different directions. For sure. So that's probably number one. And then I love that it just ports right into our CRM. So we can go back to it. The other one for life, I think honestly, just having that financial mapping plan that we can see a holistic overview of all of their needs and then identify what they need. So I think that that's really important. If you're a life broker agent that you're not using something like that, you are really missing the boat because, yes, you can have the conversation. Yes, you can say, okay, I think based on this conversation, you need XYZ in coverage. I mean, we kind of know our daily routine, right? And how to control that conversation. But visuals to a client is storytelling. And it's so important to have that because once they start to control that, they're putting in the numbers, they're going across. You're not just selling a quick term policy or maybe just an IUL. You're opening up conversations for so many more things. You're opening up conversations for your annuities. You're opening up your conversations for your long-term care. You're identifying like, hey, wait a minute, hold on. Maybe that 500 or $1 million term wasn't even close to what we need. oh wait, you own a business? Why aren't we having this conversation with your business partner, right? Like it just gives you a much larger scale view with them involved, actually outlining and visually seeing it.
That's really important. For those of you who don't understand how the brain operates, we process two-thirds of information visually. And there was a book that changed my life. These guys were making tens of millions of dollars a year from stick figure drawings. It's a book called Draw to Win. And they noticed that when they just drew simple stick figures with their sales presentations, their conversions like tripled. It was like a drastic day and night difference simply because the customer's eyes
Yep.
saw it. And we typically believe what our eyes see. So it's a very nice selling tool. And then you mentioned something funny about AI a while ago. I was using email, I think it was in 2022, to go after people's Enneagrams.
Okay.
Insurance. So
2020.
Enneagrams, there's zodiac signs. It's like, oh, this month Libra is going to have a catastrophic event. You should totally get some insurance. That it works. It works so
That's
well.
some good TikToks right there.
Yeah, so hey, if you're a type 7, you're more prone for this type of act. I just find the risk that created a necessity for insurance. And people are like, this is the most creative advertising I've ever seen in my life. And it was like, cool, just buy a policy. Thanks, but just buy a policy. So
Yes.
that's really cool that you're using that stuff. You guys should definitely go hit up Dialpad. Uh, and what was the other one for the financial mapping? Because I think it's a fantastic tool.
So the one that I ended up using now is asset maps. There's quite a few out there now, but that's probably the one that I like. It's a little bit more, in my opinion, in our practice, where we don't, and none of us hold a series license in the office specifically. So I think that that one's much more focused for the insurance broker. So I particularly like that, but there's some new ones coming out too that are pretty great as well.
Yeah, I'll have to go check out Dialpad just for recommendations for some personal agents that I know. But that'll be really good. This is
And I'm happy to talk to anybody that wants, has questions for me. I always love networking across the country because, sharing ideas, sharing regions. There's so much business out there. I'm not afraid to work with others. I think there's so many brokers that are scared, or agencies that are scared to share their secrets. I think that's absolutely garbage. If you're good, right? Like you're gonna have your clients, and there's enough for all of us to go around.
yeah, so I certainly make sure I fish the pond first just to pull the easy market share out and say, here you guys go, there, go fight for the scraps. But you're absolutely right. Most agents are completely uneducated when it comes to what their real competition is. It's not other agents. It's not even Jennifer. It's not even myself. It's Netflix. It's certain adult websites that a lot of you adults and your children spend too much time on. I caught you. Uh, and speaking of networking, like this has been really valuable for the agents and agency owners listening who want to get in touch with you. Tell us who's a good fit to work with you and how they can get in touch.
Yeah, so we honestly, anybody. I love networking, as I said, in general, but any agency owners, I think that it's really important to understand that we are just a small agency here in Denver, Colorado, but we're able to compete at a larger scale using the technology. So don't be afraid to be a small guy and have that conversation with me. Find out how you can do what I'm doing too to grow rapidly. Um, Obviously, brokers, I love to that are individual and just trying to start out or build their own agency, or even want to work under us. I'm pretty picky. Everybody that works for me is not remote, they're actually in office. So I'm not interested in scaling a massive team. I'm much more on a quality
Yeah.
basis, but obviously I'm always open to conversations. But yeah, pretty much anybody really. Like I said, I love sharing unique ideas and seeing what's out there and what's new that I can bring in, and what I can, share with others to bring into their practice.
Fantastic. We're going to wrap up here. You guys go comment down below. Say thank you to Jennifer Majeske for sharing her insights on embracing tech, what types of sales processes and systems, maybe incorporating some AI into your agency or your career, what that looks like. So you guys go comment down below. Tell her thank you for a well done job. For those of you interested in learning more or even just networking, or maybe you just want to phone a friend, I'll give you the lifeline. I'll have all of Jennifer Majeske's links down below in the pin link in the comments in the description. You guys go click on that, go check her out. and go subscribe, messenger, or whatever you want to do. If you'd like to be a guest on Policy and Profit, we're always looking for successful agents and agency owners who are doing at least 10K a month in commissions and have unique strategies and stories to tell. You can apply at the link down below in the description. And one more time, if you want to stop getting people on your team that never sell and just drain your time, and you want to recruit the right people the first time on autopilot and fill your agency with rock stars and winners, go to writemorepolicies.com/playbook. Until next time, keep building that commission machine, my friend. Jennifer, you crushed it. Great job. That was fun.
Thanks. All right. Well, yeah, I was a little nervous. I didn't know how it was gonna